So, International Association of Microsoft Certified Partners, Channel Partners, sorry. Basically, it's a global organization. It's the only organization that's officially allowed to use the Microsoft words in its organization. It came about, basically, it's a group of Microsoft partners who wanted to get together and really have a bigger voice inside Microsoft. And so as you can imagine, if you're an SMB partner, you're probably not going to get the same voice as if you're a managed partner or even further up the chain. So it's a great way for partners, and it's grown over the years, and now there's more and more enterprise partners in there, but it's a great way for partners to get into a room together and collaborate on what they're working on maybe a customer project. So say, for example, let's say you're going in there with Dynamics 365, but you're the ERP side, but you need someone to go and implement Office 365. You don't have that skill set. Someone else in the organization may have that skill set. You already have that trust because you're both a member. So it's a great way to build some P2P relationships, partner to partnering, just in case anyone doesn't know what P2P is. Most chapters will actually bring in speakers. Sometimes those speakers could be Microsoft-focused speaking sessions. Some of them could be bringing in speakers from the outside that are on topics that are of importance. I know one of the chapters, we were talking about LinkedIn earlier on. One chapter recently did basically sort of like a panel talking about LinkedIn and what they thought, and it ended up getting written up by Redmond, the Redmond magazine. And so it varies chapter to chapter. And again, depending on location in the US, most of the chapters meet monthly. As you go outside of the US, some of them are more maybe quarterly or sometimes less than that. It depends on the region. But overall, it's an organization that tries to bring partners together to get a bigger voice and improve their P2P and get a bigger voice with Microsoft. That's how I look at it. I'm sure. So I think as Jeff was saying, connect, grow, and learn are really our three words that we use a lot. I've been involved in this. I was laughing when in my head Jeff was saying, well, he'd been involved for 5 years, and I was going to say, do you mean for the last year it was 5 years? It feels like 5 years just over the last years. It's at least 5 years plus for myself. It's been heavily involved as well, and it's helped. It's a great way to build relationships. It's a great way to build trust, and find other people outside your ecosystem.
Is this sort of like a counterpart for the partners as the user groups are for the?
Right. You can think of it a little bit like a user group, but for a partner group, right?
Partner group. Yeah.
And it's purely Microsoft partners. So you're not going to walk into a room and in the room there's an Oracle partner or an SAP partner. It's purely Microsoft. Now, they could be, if they're a Microsoft and an SAP partner, yeah, they could be in the room as well, but they typically have to have an MPN number to be an IAMCP member.
They won't send
now,
their
another
SAP
big part of the organization that's been a big area that we've been very focused on over the last few years now, and something that Microsoft have been pushing as well, is women in technology. And we're a big advocate, and we have been pushing that heavily and supporting the growth of women in technology. And actually, I hate to use special interest group, but we have subgroups under our chapters that specialize in women in technology. So if I just take North America, typically we're broken up by either cities, regions. So where I'm based out of Tampa, we have a Tampa chapter, but under the Tampa chapter, we have also a Tampa WIT chapter as well. So it's a subgroup that really focuses on trying to bring in women in technology in the local area as well, and trying to please what they're looking for and trying to give them a voice as well. And trying to get my head around, trying to keep remembering it's not WPC anymore, but Inspire. Historically at WPC, the IAMCP has always had a booth and been part of the community area, and being a big area of helping welcome people and helping sort of make it easy for first timers, and really trying to build on helping those partners that don't know where to go and building relationships.
Yeah, because that's really interesting now, and I would guess that is something that we would have to, because I've been pushing this as well. We have to meet somewhere in the middle now that Microsoft's kind of forced us to cooperate with the Dynamics 365. They're taking the CRM partners and the ERP partners, and we got to meet somewhere in the middle. And maybe this could be a channel to kind of formalize this and be a channel for a better cooperation between partners.
Well, that's what we're trying. I mean, that's what the IAMCP is trying. Historically, it's been doing anyway.
Yep.
So it has the infrastructure to do it. Because I'm coming from the Dynamics, we have a number of Dynamics people on the board. We see a huge opportunity there. At the end of the day, there's a lot of Dynamics partners out there that can't do all these things. They're not big enough to do everything. There are going to be some partners that are big enough that will just simplify. They can do maybe AX and CRM, but there's going to be others that just can't do that. So This is just, even that as a minimum, this is a great platform. Go and find a CRM partner through this mechanics. Not saying you can't do it elsewhere, but by going in here, to me, it's a great way to find someone that you can build a trust straight away. Someone that's willing. There's a membership and all that you pay. So it's like you're already buying into an organization that's sort of not necessarily being vetted, but it's already weeded out some people that, unless they care, they're not going to get involved.
Yeah, and one more thing, or I mean, a couple of things to throw in there is what we found is as in the Seattle area, which you'd think there'd be a lot of people that would attend, and we had a decent turnout, so I'm not complaining about that, but everybody sort of knows somebody at Microsoft, so a lot of times they can make a direct connection and say, oh, I already know somebody on the SQL team or the Azure team. So we have this odd disparity that most regions don't have because they're not literally in the backyard of the mothership. But what we've found is one of our members, Ted Green, has basically been working on building a consortium with other partners that do some things that he does. He's an Office 365 partner. He's a former Microsoft guy, but he's got some skills and expertise that other partners and other people in our local IAMCP chapter don't have. So they're combining, and they actually pitched on a proposal for, I think, the city of Seattle, or I think it was city of Seattle, where one partner has an expertise in SharePoint, one has an expertise in deployment, one has an expertise in change management, one has an expertise in configuration, and they went together on a proposal. So we see it's not, doesn't happen every day, but one nice advantage of of any chapter in the IAMCP, and we've seen it happen here in another case with somebody that needed a training organization, a training location in the UK, and they're a trainer, a learning solution provider here in the US, and in Redmond in particular, and they needed some space. So they reached out across the IAMCP network and said, can anybody help me out? And another learning provider reached out, but so did another system integrator that had space in their office, and it was an SI that I think the space they use. So the point is, partners can help partners, and again, connect, learn, and grow. And that's the key. It's how do you help a partner do more, ideally with each other. And then the other part of it we found is sometimes they don't know what they don't know. And we've had some cases saying, well, what if I go and I run into one of my competitors? And I say, that's great. Because guess what? If you're not there and your competitor is, and they say, hey, I need an expert in Great Plains or Navision or in SharePoint or in whatever, well, guess who's going to get that call? The person that's there, not you. So that's helped a lot by getting people to say, maybe I should at least show up once in a while. So but the point is, we find that, of course, not every partner knows everything. So you might come in and you might be an expert in how to set up general ledger in Navision, or I'm not an expert in Dynamics, but you might need somebody that's an expert in maybe a vertical space, maybe in healthcare or manufacturing, and maybe they know how the regulations work, but they don't know how to set up the tech. So you can form either a formal or an informal joint agreement or a joint venture if it gets that big, and go after markets together. So we've seen that happen successfully here in the Pacific Northwest chapter several times already. So it comes down to partners helping partners, and ultimately trying to make sure, and I hate to keep harping on it, but help them connect, so know who's who in the zoo, help them learn, again, just what can we do with each other, for each other, and then grow. I mean, ultimately it's to grow their business.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. It's definitely something we need as AX partners. We need to collaborate with the SharePoint guys and the SharePoint partners. And
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's every so often, it's like, even I get a lot, but just because of my world, but I get asked quite often. It's like, okay, get someone in the US. It's maybe they are a non-Dynamics. It's okay. I have this opportunity. They also have an office out in Norway or somewhere like that. Do you know anyone out that way? And it's like, no, I don't know anyone out that way. It's like, right. But you're always going to look to your network, and probably sometimes the first place you look is, well, who do I trust? For me, it's like I look at, okay, the IAMCP. I look at who am I connected on LinkedIn to. It's that trusted network that you know.
It's kind of it's a gentleman's agreement, not to be sexist, but
exactly.
Yeah,
it's all those things. It's all those trusts, and I actually go back is one of the things that I think, and I feel really, even in business today, I feel like is that I always think that years ago when I first got into business myself, a lot of business was done because you knew someone, and then we went through a phase where that sort of disappeared a little bit. It still was there. You did a lot of business on the golf course, but I think that's coming back. That personal piece is coming back. And it's becoming more and more stronger now. So it's who you know, not always what you know.
Yeah.
Mm. And this time it's backed by technology. Is that it?
Yeah, and it's technology, and it's, again, and I think now we go back to that, utilizing them, because you're going to walk into, and also maybe SharePoint's not a good example, but at least now, hopefully, a SharePoint person is going to have heard of what Dynamics is, because Microsoft now are talking about Dynamics more than ever, and they're not going to be wondering, what's that product, Dynamics or an Office 365? They're hearing it in the story. It's part of the stack. So when they're out there, they hear it, or they hear the word ERP, and they say, okay, hang on a minute, doesn't Microsoft have something? Oh, hang on a minute, I know someone I met the other night, or something like that. At the end of the day, I think it will open up a lot more doors. But I think at the end of the day, I think there's an opportunity for people to get in the front door quicker by building the relationships up front as well.
Yep, I agree. I think it's a way. I think you hit the nail on the head, John. Where, and I think Tommy said it too. Is you might be in Norway and say, I don't know anybody else that does product X, and obviously we're sort of talking in the Microsoft world, that maybe knows how Teams is deployed, or Flow, or Power Apps, or SharePoint, or Office 365, or any of the Dynamics components, or HoloLens, or whatever. But this is coming back to the IAMCP side of things. You might be able to say, who do I know in my network? Who can I call? And it might be another thing. You might find somebody or hear about something in Sweden, or hear about it, I don't know, in Russia, or whatever, some other place that you're not currently doing business. And you might have some subject matter expertise that you can apply to that. And other times I've seen cases where it's sometimes just a finder's fee. It says, thanks for the business, and they help you because you help them find business that they would have not otherwise received. Yep. So it's basically a partners helping partners thing. That's the gist of the IAMCP, is just it's the help partners. And I think John sort of alluded to it, but a lot of times what happens is we end up with a lot of the unmanaged partners, tier 1 managed partners. We have some here in Seattle because they're personal friends and they've joined, not because I twisted their arm, but it didn't hurt. But the idea was there are a lot of unmanaged partners that still want to hear what's going on and get some semblance of access. And a couple of people have been amazingly good to help us, or people like Jen Seeger. She's at Microsoft, and she's on LinkedIn too, but she has been pitching or promulgating these, I think it's 5 books that basically help Microsoft partners engage from both a modern marketing perspective, but also from how do you go vertical, meaning how do you go after vertical markets. And then the other person is a guy named Mike, a gentleman named Mike Lescalt, who is running this channel on top of one of their external community platforms called, it's literally all one word, MicrosoftPartnerCommunity.com. So if you want, I don't know, Frederick, I think you were driving earlier, but if you go to MicrosoftPartnerCommunity.com, that's a site that's built just for partners, and it ties to their SOAP, what I call the other SOAP platform. I forgot what it stands for, but it ties. So to me, SOAP is Simple Object Access Protocol. To them, it means something else. But so for any of you guys that are BizTalk guys, you know what the real SOAP is. But anyway, MicrosoftPartnerCommunity.com that's it right there, and you can sign in with if you're already on the Microsoft Partner Network, you can sign in and you can post questions about pretty much anything you want, and you'll get a response usually quite quickly. And I'm in there a lot. I think John's in there, and Per Werngren and a few others. But the point is of this site is it's pretty new. They're just sort of getting up to speed. It's been going for, I guess it technically launched at WPC last year, but it's been still going under some rigmarole and changes. But the idea with this site is it's a place where you can go ask questions. And there is a specific IAMCP sub-channel that Mike set up for us so that IAMCP members can post questions and, or of course, respond to questions. So the point of that one is, and the content that Jen Seeger's putting out, it's I guess the gist of it is Microsoft's been really good about sort of helping the community connect, learn, and grow, and in their very own channel. So meaning Jen's spoken at our event and done a webcast for us, and Mike has set up this community for us. So it's a tool that we can use collectively. So like if you're in Norway and say, I really need somebody in Spain or in South Africa, you can post that up there and say, hey, who knows Dynamics, or maybe specifically Navision or Exapta in South Africa or in Nigeria or some particular part of the world, and you'll get connected across to somebody pretty quickly that you can at least start that relationship. I think like somebody, it might have been Frederick that said it, kind of that gentleman's agreement that says, let's at least explore this and see what we can do.